Hello Toastmasters. Welcome to yet another session of our club. Today we do not see any speeches, so we will generally conduct the table topics. Let's start with the and we'll definitely have fun because table topics is something which we like to do. It is fun event. It is something which the audience will enjoy, as well as you can come up here and speak, and you will also enjoy. And you can watch yourself on the video later on. Try to of how you performed, how the audience reacted to your speech, and next time you can come in and deliver better. One thing I believe is practice makes man perfect, right? No matter how much theory you go, you can read a book about speech, how to deliver a speech. But until and unless you come here and speak and try different angles or try different tactics, try different varieties of how you deliver, you're never going to improve upon it. It's not like a person can read a book about how to speak in public and in one shot, in one go, come here and speak, right? That is never going to happen. That is never. No one in the history has done that. So why do anyone would feel that he or she can accomplish that? So the best way to learn is incremental. It is doing small things, and over a period of time you will achieve bigger goals. So think small. Think that maybe I'm doing something small, something wrong. Let me fix that one thing. Let me come back here next time and fix that one error, rather than focusing on multiple errors. And that's how you become better and better. And the reason why we are recording this video is maybe next year when you come back and watch the present day's video compared to a video which was recorded 1 year back, you must see tremendous improvement in yourself. In your body language, in your tone of voice, in the way, the words you're using, in all the 3 aspects of speech. So, you take that in a positive spirit and give it your best shot today and have fun. That's more important, having fun. So, moving on. Today is Toastmaster for today is someone who is very enthusiastic. Whenever she takes up this role, she comes up with a very interesting scheme and she works towards it. Like she brings in props and things which will make the theme more relevant and more enjoyable. And there is no prize for guessing because she's the only she here right now. Or just another person here. So with round of applause, please welcome Sarika Rao.
Good afternoon, one and all. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Today's theme, favorite books. Books and favorite books. When it comes to books, I can talk a lot. I'm sure each one can. We all have a favorite actor, a favorite sportsman, favorite color, favorite dish, favorite place to visit. We also might have favorite books. And most of us will always say that there are more to add to the list of favorite books because they are still not made or written. If you ask me, my favorite books have varied with my age. When in school, I was an Enid Blyton fan. I wanted to read everything that she wrote. And I have some books here today on display, and I can tell you about each one of them, how they landed in my home library. There was a sudden surge of reading Enid Blyton again, so Nancy Drew was purchased. When it comes to Mirza Ghalib, a biography, I'm a very hardcore fan of Mirza Ghalib and Urdu poetry. And I didn't figure out a way as to how I can understand what he wrote. And this was a blessing. When this came, I came to know what he was thinking through. first 90 days, I presented it to my husband when he switched job, and I wanted him to do his best in his new prospect. The secret came just out of a pick from the crosswords, but it did a world of good. You should read the book. Fish Tales also came as a pick, but again, a very good book. So there are few here which I will talk about in my session to come. We do not have any prepared speeches like Kirti iterated. We have a fun-filled table topic session like last time around. We have Kaustav Rajendran, who is doing the table topic session for us. I want Kaustav to let us know what is his favorite book or favorite books and why he recommends us to read. And I'm going to mention the books that each one of us tell today so that we have another list of favorite books to buy.
You want checking if it's really working? I just pressed
Yeah, it
record.
is.
It says
Well-
record, right?
I don't know if it's recording.
Yeah, it's written like REC. Yeah.
That's right. Good afternoon. Today's theme is favorite books. Usually we try to keep the table topics synonymous with the theme of the day. So I have. I'm sorry, I'm not concentrating. The first thing, my favorite book. So there is no one book which I can claim as my favorite, but there is one book I read every night before I go to sleep, at least one page, and that book is Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I read it because it takes your mind off things. Another of my favorite authors is P.G. Wodehouse. I like all the Jeeves series and the Blandings Castle and all those. He is a satire writer. There is a different way to look at things in a very lighter light. So Douglas Wodehouse is more of real stuff that happens in the real world, and Douglas Adams is completely detached from this world, wherein the whole universe is a stage for him. So you read these books, anything that you have gone through in the day just goes from your mind, and you at least laugh 3 times before you finish one page. That's why that is my favorite book,
Can I mention?
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Will you write that for me?
It's most famously known as H2G2 by Douglas Adams. He's also one of my favorite authors. He has written 2 other books. Dirk Gently series, which is again, I would say better than this, but he wrote only one. This is a trilogy of 6 books. So that's again a complete trilogy of 6 books. So I have these slips here on which I have written either famous lines from very famous books or quotes by very famous people. They could have been writers, they may not be writers. The reason I chose these are, this will help you in speaking, in that you might either know the author, you might either connect with the idea in it, you might be able to start off a string of thoughts, a train of thoughts by reading these. I've chosen simple ones. My objective here is not like compete with everybody's intellectual capability. So these are simple ones. We have about 18 of them. We are not so many people. So see if you can talk about the line itself or the author, a book he has written, anything that is triggered by what's on this paper, anything at all. Right? And give words to your ideas as you think. That's the idea of table topics. I would, we don't have any newbies here, so there's no point in inviting a veteran to demo it to everyone first time. So we will start with volunteers. We are all seasoned Toastmasters here. You can take turns. Everyone will have a chance. And if you can't think of anything at all, feel free to pick another one because we have ample of these. Come along. Our first volunteer, Anita. Pick one and give it to me. And do take 10, 15, 20 minutes, to think about it. read it.
20 minutes.
Is unfortunately she's picked someone who's not very famous, but she has made an impact. It says, we don't see things as they are, we see them as we are. It's by an author called Anais Nin. She is an American philosopher. Think about it.
It's okay. First of all, I should apologize to everybody saying that I'm not a great person who read much. But I should really thank my husband for giving me a small start for my reading habit. I started reading books only after I joined college or I reached. I was never a person who fantasized mystery novels. In fact, when I used to go to the library during my school one period, I used to pick up the best books because my name was starting with A, so I always get the chance to reach the library first. So I used to pick the best books, then give it to my friend, tell her to read the book and tell me the story when we are going back to home in the school bus. That was me. I typically never read books. Even my mom used to try to make that habit of reading books, but I never did that. But one thing, I started my reading habit really when I got one book written by Kamala Das. She was a very famous writer in Malayalam, and she used to write in English too, poems in English. Her Malayalam name was Madhavi Kuti. So there was a book written by her called Ende Kada, My Story. It really, these two lines which Kaustubh gave me, it really gives a train of thoughts relating to that book. She wrote everything, every line in the book didn't make any sense to everybody, but it made some sense to me because she wrote everything, whatever she saw, and she didn't mean to write anything what it was. She wrote it in a way that what it made her feel, or what she could derive from. Maybe it's just a wind blowing, or a car moving on the road, or even a small child crying on the roadside to get some food. It didn't make any sense to much of the people who read the book, but it really made a lot of impact on me. From that moment, I got a special kind of maybe a skill, or I try to picture things in my mind whenever I read through some things or whenever I say something, and I really try to express it in a different way. I don't care about what others feel about anything, but I really do care about what I feel about a particular thing. It really made a good impact in me that in future, or at least when I get stressed too much in my office hours, in my thing, the first thing I do is pick up a pen, take a paper, write, scribble on something, whatever is happening in my life, and it just goes on writing. Maybe I have some errors, grammatical errors, but it really helps me to get off my stress. And I should be very happy to say that today's theme is encouraging me to do this writing again, because I was already in the process of writing. I had a 1-week journey last week, and I bought a random notebook from a small store, and I started writing about the whole journey, about the music which was playing in my car stereo, about the waves in the ocean which I saw in that Kovalam beach, and even the cry of a girl which I saw when the car was stopping in a small traffic jam. So I'm writing it. Probably someday, if it gets translated into English, I can say, show it to all of you. Maybe you can read it and give me some suggestions about it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That has rejuvenated me, because I was very skeptical if this theme would click. I am not a big fan of all the role things which happen here, associating, and it's fun, but basically what we want here is for people to think and then speak what they think, collect it together, bring it out in precise, simple words, ideas turning into words so that it can reach other people. That's what we want. And Kirtiraj has just reminded me that the word of the day needs to be introduced. So, yeah.
Thanks, Kaustubh. As a grammarian, my responsibility is to introduce the word of the day and also to to notice good usage and also not so good usages, which I will bring out in my grammarians report during the general evaluation section. So today's word for today, for the day which I have chosen is capricious. It is pronounced as capricious. The meaning of this word is characterized by or subjected to whim, impulsive and unpredictable. So just remember this, impulsive and unpredictable. One of the sentences of this usage would be, he is such a capricious boss, I never know how he will react. So get the meaning, right? Yes, anything which is impulsive and unpredictable. And I have displayed it in big letters, so you won't forget it. So the word for today is capricious. Please see if you can incorporate this word in your speech. Thanks.
Thank you. The thing about English words is that we take them for granted. Words like fantastic, excellent are all superlative. They are above normal standards. We use it like you see a plant or a flower, you say it's fantastic, but fantastic is, if you read from real English authors, you would know that they use it very stingily. So I'm not very sure if capricious is on an elevated superlative level or on a normal level, because the word says your boss is capricious. So it was in a very negative manner, we probably wouldn't have formed this thing. So do see if you can stick to that. And I would like to call upon the next volunteer. Yes, Atik, please.
What's the name?
Atik.
Atik.
ATIQ. Excellent. Leo Tolstoy, Anna Karenina. Happy families are all alike. Every unhappy family is unhappy in its own way.
Thank you.
I'm not aware of the author who wrote this line, but the sentence is, it has its own meaning in it, and it's for an extent it's very true. It says happy families are all alike. Every unhappy family is unhappy in its own way. Just trying to contemplate what exactly, how I can put my thoughts across to you. Well, if you take this as a general statement, happy families are all alike, it all depends on the understanding between the family members and how compassionate you are towards your elders, towards your siblings. Am I going right? Like,
I mean, there's no right or wrong. Just go with whatever you think.
So, when you don't talk to each other, when you don't express your experiences or your feelings and you keep it to yourself, that leads to kind of unhappiness between your own family members. So when it comes to this sentence, happy families are all alike, actually I don't have much thoughts about this apart from what I've just said.
Thank you. I'll give you a little bit of background on that. This is a Russian author. His Russian name is Lev Nikolaevich Tolstoy. His most famous works are War and Peace and Anna Karenina. Couple of things that's funny about this very huge work, okay, written over years, and Tolstoy was there is a collection of essays by Tolstoy called The Kingdom of God. that was the driving factor for Martin Luther King and Mahatma Gandhi to come up with the non-violence movement and all this. So he's a very reputed author. There is an interesting quote by Woody Allen, which has this Anna Karenina mentioned in it. He said, I took a crash course in speed reading, and I read Anna Karenina in 20 minutes. It involves Russia. That's about it. So, that's the thing. And I would like to call upon the next. Oh, yes, Gurutaj.
Past in the foreign country.
Not a very famous author, but I heard this line from an essay of Salman Rushdie. The past is a foreign country. They do things differently there.
Just Salman Rushdie.
Salman Rushdie.
That's-
He just mentioned that. So you could, I'm just helping him out here. You can talk about past. Whenever you look back, it all seems strange. It seems like it is a remote world. Right? Whatever you have done in your college days, stupid things, good things. Looking towards the future, it's a mystery, that kind of things.
Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters. There's another good opportunity to speak here on a different topic, which gives you a bit thinking on your feet. Talking about books a little bit, well, I am also not a ferocious reader. There's a huge dispute between me and my wife. If you go around my house, you'll find my house full of books. Right towards the right of my bedroom, towards the right of my bed, you'll find books. And towards the left of my bed, you'll find books. Today morning, she said, how do we get e-books? That's on the Amazon list. I said, e-books? Yes, e-books. So wherever she needs, she will talk about books. The biggest dispute, as I said, is between me and my wife. I don't read much. She reads. She keeps recommending me. She keeps giving me the book on my hand. Please read this book. I still forget to read that book. Or maybe I'll just scribble through, or I'll just read through a few pages on the front and a few pages on the last. Or maybe the summary page to know if she asked me a question, what's going on. So those are a bit of things which is happening past as well as now. Another good person who has always encouraged me is my brother, my cousin brother, who's an English lecturer in Punjab University. He has read a lot of books. Maybe today he's a lecturer. He's also encouraged me from reading Godfather to reading different books. And again, as a person, I'm a sports person, so I concentrate more on sports. Talking about today's topic, the past, what happened, what is not exactly foreign to me, because I would take it in another way, talking like every bit you learn and then you start using them in a very positive way, good, bad, worse. All three things keep on happening in your life in different stages. When you're growing, going to school, you meet good people, you meet good teachers. All teachers are good, definitely, but the time you spend with them, the good time and the quality time and the kind of things which you learn from them. Just as an individual, I've always practically taken a lot of things from people and started applying those principles on my personal life, because that takes you a little forward from where you stand. On the other way, because I don't read much, I listen, I keep my ears and eyes open, I keep listening, talking to people, taking more from the people. I spend time, like my cousin brother or my wife, talking to my wife, because they have read, they have information, and the information what they give it to me on the positive side is very high. I keep applying. And when these information comes back to me and I start applying and gives me a boost, and it also encourages me, or it improves my outlook in all multiple ways. That could be a big advantage. And being other good examples would be on the side like the past foreign ones, like suppose you've seen somebody, recently I read in the newspaper, a lady trying to board a board a train in the Mysore station, and it was very auspicious occasion where she was traveling from, where she was trying to travel from Mysore to Bangalore to distribute her daughter's wedding cards. The incident is that, mishap is that she hit her head against the, while boarding, the train was already speeding when she was trying to board the train, maybe she was a little late. She hit her head and she died there, and she collapsed and she died there. So these things are something which one should know, that, you know, every station or wherever we go, people still try those mistakes or get into those mistakes. Apart from knowing that this is wrong, we still do that. So my overall experience says, in the past, if you have learned something, try to apply it in a very positive way and improve your outlook. Thank you.
There is a phrase called 6 degrees of separation. I was just thinking about that. We are all interconnected. The idea which Anita was mentioning earlier, that Kamala Das wrote her observations in an indifferent manner without adding emotions or color to it and leaving it to the reader to interpret it according to their ways, which would be something that could interest you, because when you hear it from somebody else, you're hearing their version of it. When you read it, it would appeal differently to you. But so do the other one, do the first one as well as do the other one, which should be an encouragement.
Good combination.
Yes. Next. Please. Should be very easy. I love deadlines. I love the whooshing noise they make as they go by. By my favorite author, Douglas Adams.
First of all, until recently I was never a big fan of reading as such. Reading anything. You take anything into consideration. Obviously for exams, no. I have to force myself. Everyone does. And for books, what was, stopping me from doing that was patience. And I used to start reading some book. After a while, I used to get, there's a long way to go. I don't know how I'm going to finish this. I wasn't really confident. That capricious mentality of mine used to stop me from, reading novels or anything. And yeah, recently I have read quite a few books. Even, during my high school days, I used to read. Like, I read many of Dan Brown's novels, and yeah, I like those novels. And my favorite book would be a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad from author named Robert Kiyosaki. Basically, again, like. The quote which Kaustubh produced previously, it's about how you look at things. It's not the eyes with which you look at it, not with the eyes with the perspective which the author tries to put it. Basically, that book, the thing which I liked the most was it tries to make you look in various perspectives. This was especially about the financial situation of the world, or even families for that matter. And yeah, that's the reason I consider it as my favorite book. And coming back to the topic, I love deadlines, I love whooshing noise they make as they go by. Yeah, obviously that's probably would be my favorite quote from now on, because I follow it very regularly. I try to bring it to the deadline, because even during exams, like till the last minute, you'll feel okay, even if one day is left for exam. Say if that exam preparation required is like 2 to 3 hours, say 12 hours is required, 12 hours is still left with you. You will not be very efficient enough till those last 3 hours actually come. So when those last 3 hours come, suddenly the things, the paces the pace gets much better of you doing the things. The efficiency will be much better at that period of time. So that way, yeah, we love the deadlines because that is the period when people or every person is most efficient. He gives his best, and that probably was what Douglas Adams was trying to, trying to say. At least the way I construct it, I feel, yeah, deadlines are very important. If you don't set a deadline, probably you might not, try to bring out the best from one particular person. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. So if you go online and search for Douglas Adams quote, it will have an ample amount of humor in it, but it will also have some interesting intellectual twist to it. Is that a visit? Yeah, carry on. So, one of the things that is good about books is there is a lot of connection between our world and the literature. Our world, what I mean is technology, not software industry as such, science and technology. If you look at it, most of the greatest scientists, they were also philosophers, they were also mathematicians, physicists. There's a strong connection between the worlds. Douglas Adams was a big fan of technology, and I get the feeling that nobody here has read it. I mean, these are the building blocks of youth. You should read it. It's too late to read it. You can still go back and read it. Next volunteer. Sure.
There are only two ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle. The other is as though everything is a miracle. The author is Albert Einstein. Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters. So first and foremost, I want to request you to just bear with my voice. I'm not keeping all that well today. So this quote, if I can call it, is a very interesting one. Just a couple of days back, I hit upon a presentation which was called the Agile Mindset. I don't know how many of you have seen that. Do you all see that? It was circulated here in Seva. And it was a very interesting concept. It talked about, when you look at the world, there are two sets of people. There are the people who believe you either have it or you don't have it, or those who believe everything evolves. And if you really look at each one of us, we pretty much fall into one of these types. And what that means is the way we behave, the way we interact, what is possible for us, what is possible for another person from our perspective is all determined by the way we think. And it really calls upon people to think an agile mindset. So on the same lines, when I think about what Albert Einstein says, it is about perception. If you look at the world around us today, it is amazing how things work. That is, if you look at it from that mindset. We've got 6 billion people on this earth. We've got a solar system, the Milky Way. We've got other solar systems. We've got the sun rising every day, doing its stuff. There is so many things going around us. And of course, we as humans get caught up with the nitty-gritties of our own problem. So when you look at things from that perspective, it is truly a miracle that is happening around us. But if you fail to see that, right, then there is an explanation for everything that goes wrong. There is an explanation for everything that happens. So, to summarize, I agree with what the author says. I think it is to a great extent the mindset, how we choose to look at things. And one of them is empowering, which is a very enriching experience. The other one is the limiting. Back to the
There are funny quotes by all of these people, and some of them stick, because they also, it's not only because of the humor of it, but it's also because they actually have some point in it. Albert Einstein is the person who again said, there are two things in this world that are infinite: the universe and human stupidity. And I don't know about the universe. So, yes, volunteer please. This is a quote by Mark Twain. This goes hand in hand with our theme today. Good friends, good books, and a sleepy conscience. This is the ideal life. You can talk about anything that comes to your mind. Whether you agree with friends being good, whether you agree with books being good companions, whether what your fantasy of an ideal life is, anything that comes to you.
Hi fellow Toastmasters. I'm not that much vivid reader. I've been gone through some of the Indian writers like Rajendra Yadav and some others. So my favorite writer, as you can understand, is Rajendra Yadav. The book written by him is Sara Akas. It was one of the finest books that I have come across. And he is a capricious writer, you can say, because whatever will happen in the next page, we are not aware of. We cannot predict that thing. So it was a pretty nice thing that we found into his writing style. And as per my this Mark Twain, The Good Friends, Good Book, and Sleepy Conscience makes you a very healthy person. It is like if we read good books, we can understand what the feelings are, what a person feels, and also we become more emotional. If you interact with a person who is uneducated and uncultured, and also you try to interact with a person who reads a lot, you can understand the difference into the analyzing abilities or to understand a thing or a situation. So that's the best thing that reading habit that develops into a person. That's all.
We have to write down two book names. Poor Dad, Rich Dad. That was Robert G. Kiyosaki. This is a curse I have, because I wouldn't say I am good at any language. I am not very good at my first language. I am not proficient in English. We use all those common words which we use in everyday life, but that doesn't. Even today when I am reading an authentic English book, I still keep the dictionary with me. There is nothing. And since I don't know the other languages, I can speak a bit of Hindi, I can speak my mother tongue, but I never get that patience or drive to sit through and read these. But it does. It's again another perspective, right? Every author has something to contribute. Every author has. So 6 billion people, there's 60 billion perceptions, and it's good. So next, volunteer philosophical. For every minute you are angry, you lose 60 seconds of happiness. Ralph Emerson.
afternoon, fellow Toastmasters. I do not know, I recognize this author because the simple fact is I don't read books. I very rarely sit through and read an entire book. I start off with reading certain books, but I never complete it. I prefer videos. I prefer movies. Like if a book is translated into a video or a movie, the reason I prefer that is because I just want to relax. So I put the video on and I just watch it, and my mind automatically processes it. Books are mostly you have to read it and interpret it. I don't know. I never gone through that process, which could sound like you should not do it, but you should. Books makes you a better. It helps in improving your vocabulary. That's one, and it also for some people I think books is or it takes them to a different world, and I have never experienced that before. I have never experienced that by reading a book you go to an entirely different world, and maybe in future I will do that. Talking about the quote, for every minute you are angry, you lose 60 seconds of happiness. I totally and wholeheartedly agree to this point of view. Why people get angry? It's an emotional reaction, right? You don't choose to get angry. You don't say, okay, now I'll get angry. Something happens in front of you, or you see something, or you feel something, and you get angry. And it is a chemical, it's a reaction, your brain sends signals, and it releases certain chemicals in your body, and you get angry. And the point of being angry is it's a lose-lose situation for both you and whoever is around you. It is never a win-win situation. It is never a beneficial situation. So, if you are aware of this concept, since I am aware, but still I get angry because it's a hardwired thing in my brain, which certain things around me, certain things in the environment will make me angry. But if you are aware that it's just an emotional reaction which your brain makes automatically without you even choosing to do it, so you can overcome it. And same thing with happiness. Happiness is also not a triggered. You don't trigger it. It triggers by itself. You say, okay. You don't say I will get happy now. You get happy. So one of the tricks to get not tricks. One of the concepts which you can use, or which you can philosophy which you could take forward to be happy, is say lower your criteria to be happy. Certain people have very high criteria to be happy. They want a car, they want a flat, a bungalow, or they want so and so people around them to be happy. You just be happy. Just say to yourself, I'm happy because I'm alive.
That covers everyone, so I would like to invite our Toastmasters today to participate. One thing she didn't mention is she's more of a non-fiction fan. I am a very fiction fan. So. This is the opening lines of Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. And a lot of things you can talk about it. It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of good fortune must be in want of a wife. If you've seen the Pride and Prejudice movie, you get it. It's the same thing.
It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife. Well, I should ask this to my husband. Yes, I think a woman makes a lot of difference in a man's life. She brings fortune in different prospects. She brings fortune in terms of happiness. She makes a family for a man. She cooks a good meal for a man, which is such a basic, such crude necessity of oneself, a human being. And it's said that to win a man's heart, it's through his stomach. So, that holds true. Fortune comes in many ways. Fortune comes in being one as a family. And I think a woman holds a family together. If the family is split, or if, just not the family as in the husband or a child, but then the rest of the family, say the siblings of the husband or the wife, the woman of the wife, the family brings it together. And this is how a fortune is created. It's not through money, or it's not through having materialistic goodies in your house, but having people for you, having people wishing good for you is fortune according to me. Thank you.
So that brings us to the end of this. I hope everyone enjoyed it. If you know the secret behind Steve Jobs' speeches and all that, he would be standing on the stage and there would be a screen here which shows bullet points. And it would say stuff like, now speak about the achievements of last year. It's just that one line, and then he starts speaking about it. So he never carries notes with him. He never carries or prepares an entire speech. He was a gifted speaker because he always had his technology and success to back him up. But that's how they do it. If you look at President Obama and all that, they can go on speaking without notes. So the idea, the success, the way I see it about speaking, is to have your thoughts organized, to practice it over and over again, how to give words to your thoughts, how to present it to people in a varying depth of, what do you say, perception, because different people have different paces of perception. So you have to use a varying pace of language choice, word formation, and then you convey it. So that is the crux of Table Topics, and that is why we do this. And thank you.
I'm sure we are always going to enjoy when Kaustubh is conducting the Table Topics session. We also by now know who to go to if you want to start your reading habit. So here is someone who can definitely guide us through some basic reading qualities that one need to inculcate. I just thought I would change the format a little bit, but I don't think that works because the grammarian needs to introduce the word of the day, and that had to be done in the beginning of the session. But now I get back to the assistants of the session who have assisted us through the session, and they will let us know on what points and grounds they have evaluated us. I start with grammarian, Toastmaster Kirtiraj. Would you let us know how you have evaluated us through the session? Just let us know what a grammarian does.
This is the report, right?
No, no, not the report.
Just the role.
Just the role.
Oh, that's good. Okay, good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters. My role as a grammarian is twofold. One is to introduce the word of the day, which I have already done it. The second part of my role is to track the usage of good grammar or good phrases or sentences, and also to track the not so good usage of grammar and not so good usage of phrases and sentences. I will submit my report during the general evaluation session. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's move on to the R counter played by Gurtej.
Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters. Today's role was R counter, where I was tracking the filler words and cut words like and that was my role. Thank you.
Timekeeper played by Ravi.
Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters. Today I am playing the role of timekeeper. My role is to monitor the time taken by each individual into the table topics, and also like how wisely you are using that time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We move on to the critical feedback session, and this is the most important part of the Toastmasters session. This is the stage where we deliver and get immediate feedback. So let me welcome Ashok Balakrishnan for the general evaluation.
very warm good afternoon to all of you. Before we go with the general evaluation section, I want to just talk a little bit about the theme of the day. You know, there was a survey that was conducted a few days back by one of the online portals, where they found that the number of friends that an individual has today, it's boiling down to a single digit. In fact, most of the cases it's one or two. And we have a lot of acquaintances thanks to Facebook and the whole flurry of tools that have come up. And of course the fast lifestyle that we lead, where we don't get time for another person. I mean, forget about a friend, for the family, it is such a challenge to balance your time. So in that context, the role that a book plays is so relevant. There was a very famous saying before that a book can be a person's best friend. I mean, it can build your character, personality, it can guide you. There are people who have read books and built their lives around it. And today in the market, you take any subject, you have some wonderful books. You talk about self-help or self-improvement, which is one area that I just developed a taste or a flavor to go and check out some of the new writers. It is amazing how people can look at the same thing that has been around for the last 50 years in a different way and take a different approach. So I would encourage, and so thanks to Toastmasters Sarika for picking up such a good topic which could mean a lot to all of us. I would encourage all of you to go back. It's not about reading the whole book, it's about spending time away from the rest of the world. And it's in many ways it's very relaxing hobby I feel. When I read books today, I read 5 pages, 6 pages at a time. For those 6 pages I just forget about the release issues and my kids making noise at home, and I'm just oblivious to all of that. I shut myself, I read my 6 pages and then say, okay, what's going on now? So again, I encourage all of you to do that. So with that, coming back to the G segment, today's section. So the G segment is about providing evaluation. And I'm going to call upon the assistants that Toastmaster Sarika introduced earlier on to help us with that. But before we go there, we need to vote for the best table topic speaker. And for that, I'm going to ask the timekeeper if all the speakers qualified.
We have 4 who disqualified in the table topics.
Okay, who are the speakers who qualified?
The one who qualified are Atik, Ashok, myself, and Sarika.
Okay, so we got 4 speakers who are qualified.
Atik, Ashok, myself, Praveen, and Sarika.
This panel doesn't have a table topic.
Okay, so please take a minute to vote. You have to vote for yourself. now that we've got the voting behind us, let's move to the part of the segment. And to help me with the grammarian's report, I'm going to call upon Toastmaster K.T. Raj to provide his detailed report.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ashok. Today we had only table topic session, so there were a lot of good usages. My list of good usages is more than also good. So great job there, and try to make it better next time. Once we are all good. In terms of technical grammatical errors, I rarely found any mistakes, which is nice, because what I feel is grammatical error, if you're talking for 5, let's say 3 minutes, if you make 1 or 2 grammatical errors, maybe people won't notice that, but if you're making grammatical errors in every sentence, then there is a problem, there's a huge problem, which I did not find today, so great. Our word for today was used by Praveen. Did anyone else use it?
He used it.
Sorry, I didn't notice that somehow. Very nicely used by Praveen though. He used it. I forgot to mention that this word is generally used as an adjective, and he said capricious author, which was very nicely used. The good usages for today are like put my thought across to you, experiences and feelings, indifferent manner, whooshing noise. I don't know the spelling of it. This is WHOOSHIE. Sleepy conscience, analyzing abilities. She makes a family for a man. I like that sentence. Crude necessity. Fortune comes in many ways. Crux of it. Need to inculcate, need to develop, need to cultivate. That's a good usage. Oblivious to all of that, which Ashok used, like oblivious to all the noise and commotion in the house. Great usage. Some of the not so good ones are as a pick. I don't know whether you could use that, like you bought that book as a pick. So maybe you can use it as a, I bought it impulsively, or I was not planning to buy it, but I just went there and I saw it and bought it. Made a good impact in me, or you could just say made a good impact. No need to say get off my stress. I don't know what was that, sorry. Bit thinking on your feet. You don't need to say bit thinking on your feet. Say just thinking on your feet. Started applying me. Somebody used that. Started applying me. Me is not required there. Just say started applying. I started applying it. I think that's all. Everything else was perfect. Thanks.
Thank you. I have one more interesting word I wanted to say, which Kaustuv used, which was lighter, light. When he said lighter, I was thinking of lighter vein, but then he said light. And then I paused, and that was an interesting usage. There was another interesting thing I saw was, and I'll talk about it during my general feedbacks as a team. Next, I'm going to ask the timekeeper, Praveen, to provide the detailed timekeeper's report. She can do it from there.
Yeah, fine. So in table topics, we have 4 persons who disqualified. The details are like the details timing taken by each individual is Anita, she has taken 3 minutes 40 seconds. Atik has taken 1 minute 14 seconds. Gurtej has taken 2 minutes 43 seconds. Nitesh has taken 2 minutes 50 seconds. Ashok has taken 2 minutes 20 seconds. Praveen 1 minute 18 seconds. Kirti has taken 2 minutes 45 seconds. Sarika has taken 1 minute 20 seconds.
Thank you. For the Archondos report, I'm going to ask Toastmaster Gurupej to give us his detailed report.
the accountant's report, we had just two speakers who had repeated words, Anita and Atik, where Anita had 4 hours and Atik had around 6 hours. The rest of them I did not notice much. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the general evaluators' comments on the section. So I want to start off with Toastmaster Sarika. First and foremost, thank you for taking such an excellent topic. The use of prompts was wonderful. It took us to a different world. The fact that you went through some of the books, you gave an explanation why you brought it, it really put some life into, made a story around it, which was wonderful. As you were saying, I was thinking about some of the reasons why I brought my books. So that was a very good technique to connect with the audience. Prior to that introduction by the president, I thought it was good. You talked about, and this is something I think you do good every time. You continue to try to motivate the members on why they should be here, what are the finer aspects of Toastmasters, how they can get more from it, and so on. And I think you do a very good job with that. The only thing I would add is, if you can add some formal information, intersperse it, whether it is, so many members have taken TM, or some factual information in between that will sort of make it complete that whole introduction. The transition to Kaustubh, that was very smooth. You started off by talking about your own personal thoughts on books, what it meant to you. And I think it was very clear that you're a very good reader. You had a lot of knowledge about books, about some of the great authors, and you did a wonderful job through the entire session. What you did was you filled in. Okay, and that's the role of a good host, is to fill in the jerks that happen through the session because of different speakers or different people, to smoothen that out and give a good overall experience to the audience. That's what you did. I think you did a wonderful job. So let's give a round of applause to Kaustubh. Some of the things that you did, to be more specific, that you did good were you prompted the individual speakers. You expanded the scope in some of the case, giving them an opportunity to explore. You complemented some of the quotes that were there with some additional background about them, which sort of made them more interesting for many of us who probably have not heard about it. So overall, I think a very good session. You closed on, you had a conclusion, which is very good. Anytime you do anything, you need to have a conclusion. You have to summarize. And they say very often, the audience only remembers the last few minutes. The conclusion is what remains with them as they walk out of the evening. Okay? So any conversation you do with anybody, you have to have a good closure. And I thought you did a good job there. The only thing I would add is, for the table topics, it would be good to add about the logistics. 2 minutes, right? When you qualify, when you don't qualify. And most of the people do remember it, but it's just right at the moment of delivery, as people are going to do it, it puts them to one perspective. Talk a little bit about, it's not content, and I think you did that. It's not about content, it's about just how you deliver it. That's important. And the other thing I would say is, always address the audience. Many of you came here, before you start, you have to say, connect with the audience. So whether it is a hello, good afternoon, and because it's a formal occasion, you try to either a welcome, good afternoon, or something like that, which you connect with the audience. And then you start with the content. Okay, so that is something that I would always recommend. And when you're done, transition to the Table Topics Master. Wait here. So the video camera it's a very good help here. If you have gone out of the frame while you're transitioning, that means you have walked out of the visible area. You should literally wait here till the next speaker comes, you shake hands, and then you move on. Because what they say is, you should never have an empty podium. You go at any function, at any formal thing, a podium before the occasion starts till it is complete. I mean, from start to end, there has to be somebody up there who's manning the podium. That's why you have to smoothly transition. Okay, moving to the individual table topic speakers. So I must say, oh, Anita is here. I must say, the topic was challenging in a positive way. It got us to think a little bit about the author, about the context of what he might have been saying there and so on. So I think it was a thought-provoking topic, and it is challenging. When something is thought-provoking, it is challenging. And I thought most of you, if not that, all of you did good to come here and try to do justice to that. And again, I reiterate, the content, I mean, I think you had asked, right? I think you asked whether you were right or wrong. Yeah. Content doesn't matter. And I would extrapolate that to any conversation. You know, there was a presentation by our CTO, Mr. Robert, who was here. Right? How many of you attended that presentation on presenting? Okay, I was fortunate enough to be when he presented that. It was a 30-minute preso he gave about how to speak in front of an audience. And he presented that material at the Sabre Orators, in the Sabre Orators Club in Dallas, and at some other forums. And actually, I may have the preso, I'll forward it to you. One of the things he said was, people rarely care about content. It is the biggest misconception, and that is why we all get so hung up with content. It's all about how you deliver. Okay, you take any conversation with your peers, your friends, okay, even on the technology front, yes, technology aspect is important, but what differentiates person A from person B to person C, who seem to have the same information, is how they convey that, right? And that is what we are focusing here on. So, and he made a very interesting observation. He said, when you are up here, you should be bigger than life. That means you should do something here that you would not do in your real life. Say something, behave something, out of life experience, because you are here to entertain. That's the reason you're here. And interestingly, he said, in the technology office, there are 3 criteria where they determine picking speakers. And guess what? The number 1 criteria is not an expert in technology. Which is interesting. He's the head of the organization. Because he said, if I send a person who's very knowledgeable in technology, who can't present, I can be guaranteed that he'll come back without connecting with the audience. Right? So, think about what I said. Check it out. Check it out at your meetings, at your team forums. Who are the people who are successful? Who are the people respect? What is it about them that they like? And you'll start seeing the answers. Okay? So, Anita, coming back to our session here, you did a very smooth transition from the quote. You took us to one of the writers you believed in, which is Kamala Das. You talked about her book and why you liked her. So it was absolutely smooth. Okay, and again, it's a capability that we have to practice. How you get out of an uncomfortable position and maneuver ourselves and drag conversations to what we would like to talk in here about than what the other person would like to. Right? I think you did a wonderful job. The next speaker was, I think, Atik, right? Yeah. I think your subject was Leo Tolstoy.
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Tolstoy was there, yeah. So Tolstoy was, when I was growing up, my dad, I mean, we're from Kerala, okay? So, I don't know if this is very common, but he had Lenins and Tolstoys and, you know, in the communist rule in Kerala, it was very common. And guess what? When I was in 5th grade, my dad took out this Tolstoy's, this fat book, and he asked me, read page number 45 to 50. And when I come in the evening, I need a summary of that. I was sitting with the dictionary the whole day, guess what? But at least thanks to him, you know, I could connect to a person called Leo Tolstoy. And yeah, he's a very well known, but the code was difficult. You tried, and I think kudos to you for trying, and that's what matters. Okay. Who were the other one? We had Praveen. Who were the next ones? Gurtej, yeah. Gurtej, you talked about the
Past.
yes, yes. You know, so one suggestion I had, I think to some of you all, it is perfectly fine to come and talk a little bit about the theme of the day. Okay, and I think you talked about your love of books, the first part, right? You want to keep that a little brief because remember the time is clicking, right? If you when you started off, I thought your intention was to only speak about that, but at some point you switched over to the topic, right? So keep it brief and then switch on to the topic of the day. You talked about, I think, your brother
Yes.
and some of the challenges you have, how you disagree with your wife.
Yeah.
I think it was a good snippet. That was good. Who are the other speakers?
It is.
What did you talk about? I can't recollect.
Poor dad, rich dad.
Poor dad, rich dad.
Poor dad, rich dad, right.
Deadlines.
Deadlines. Yeah. Very interesting subject that was. And you sort of took the position of personally connecting with what that meant to you. How you look at deadlines and how you would look at deadlines. So a good technique again. Sometimes you try to explain what the author was trying to say. Sometimes you think what that means to you. Sometimes you try to apply to what you might be doing, and I think you took the third one. Next we had Praveen. Is it Praveen? Yeah. Praveen, what was your subject?
Good books and sleepy conscience to a healthy life.
Yes. So the Praveen, there was, I think you were speaking for the second time?
Yes, second time.
Third time, okay. So there was some nervousness which is perfectly normal, okay, and that is why we are here. I think you made a very good attempt to share some of your ideas, which is good. I would encourage you to come here as much as possible. That means every forum that you get, sign up for a role. Because every time you sign up for a role, you get an opportunity to speak. And you will be surprised as you start speaking and speaking and speaking, at what point the nervousness goes away, you will not realize. You will just start feeling comfortable. Okay, but a very good attempt, and let's give a round of applause to him. All right, and last but not the least is we had Sarika and Kirti. What do I say? Both seasoned Toastmasters, and I think you did a good job maneuvering around the subject. Okay. What else do I have? Yeah, one other comment I wanted to make. Someone of you said hi. When you come here, you want to keep it a little formal. Hello or good afternoon would be better. Okay, you avoid the use of slang words in formal occasions, which I assume would be true probably when you're in a company presentation and so on. Okay, that's pretty much what I had. And I am going to, with that, I'm going to return control. It's been a wonderful session. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I hope you all did. I want to return control back to Toastmasters.
I want you to applause for Ashok again. Attending the session in spite of his health not being at its best. Before I close, I would like to mention two last books that I read. one is The Professional by Subrata Vakchi, presented to me by my husband for completing 4 years in civil, and a book called Soul Purpose, which is written by not so very known author, but then it tells you how you can live for 10,100 years. You must be wondering how. You can check out in the book. I can lend it out to you. I would like to announce the winners for today. We just had table topics and one evaluator. So let us know who won in the table topics.
Ashok won the table topic.
And we have one undisputed evaluator, that's the grammarian for today, Kirtiraj. As a part of conclusion, I would like to say books change life. They make us look at life from a new perspective. They change the outlook of life. They can enhance the romance. They can make you adventurous, and they can do a lot of changes to you. So I wish you all a very happy reading, and thank you for a wonderful session. Passing on the control to the presiding officer, Kirtiraj.
Thank you, Sarika, for conducting today's session. Before I close, I would like people to sign up for roles and speeches. We can have 5 icebreakers next time. We are okay for that, because the last 2 weeks we have been doing table topics. So we can skip table topics if you want. So, Atik, icebreaker. Icebreaker, you understand what is icebreaker?
About,
Yourself. For 4 to 6 minutes.
do they have the books manual already?
Yeah, they have.
I don't have the hard copy, I have the PDF.
You can come and collect from me. I have one. Today I can give it. So, Atik,
Nitish, you had signed up for last time, right?
Yeah.
can you take it off next time?
I'll let you know. I'm not really sure if I'll be here next Thursday.
You know, one of the things I noticed is Linkesh was pretty irregular. Last time he made him sign up for speaking.
He is not well today, that's what he said. He is not in office today.
So if you don't feel like speaking, but do come. Okay, you can
I was
opt
planning to
out.
finish it today actually.
But do come.
Because of some
He was
contingencies.
opted out.
Yeah, I couldn't see you online
Yeah,
since
good.
Monday.
Yeah, I wasn't here.
Praveen, would you?
Yes, but I'm not aware like how to prepare and
It's
the
about-
documentation
We
is
have mentors,
there.
we can help. There are so many people who have done the.
It's about speaking about yourself for 4 to 6 minutes.
Fine, fine.
Anything. Yeah, it's about introduce yourself to the club.
Yeah,
Can you
fine,
send
fine.
the PDF document to?
No, I have already sent it to everyone.
Do you have that
You should have.
PDF?
No, I'm not sure. That yes, one
The
PDF I
PDF
received.
Yeah,
Yes.
that gives you the formal definition of how to structure it. Everything is there.
Everything.
Go through that
Just
and
have to
then-
read the first chapter, first
Or you-
page. First chapter.
After reading that, maybe you can seek help of any of us.
Yeah,
You
fine,
can come
fine.
to us. We can give you a small snippet on how.
It's just a bit longer than table topics, and the topic is you.
Yeah.
Ah, fine, fine.
And you're the expert about yourself, so nobody can contest that.
Alright, so Nitish, you will let us know.
I'll let you know.
You'll be able to do it. Any role
And we had
players?
who was the other, Sujata, right?
Savita.
Savita.
Anita, any role play you want to?
G.
Okay. Who else is there? Yes. Gurtej, anything?
Yeah.
Speech number 2?
Okay. Correct, okay.
Okay, great.
Take up an excess of 4 members for me.
Kaustav?
I'll help you at the last minute if somebody else.
I'll actually put myself as a speaker, but because I know there'll be some dropouts, so put me also
No,
there.
we can go for 5 speeches next time.
Right,
We can skip table topics totally.
if it comes to.
If it comes to that. So let's sign up for like 6 speeches, and maybe if one of them have some urgent issue they cannot join,
Okay.
then we'll have 5 or 4 speeches at least. So So I think I just need timekeeper, table topic master and postmaster. We'll get it later. Great. Thanks for coming.
Oh. How come we always have that?
Same one.